My name's Eelke Van Willegen. I'm from the Netherlands. 48 years old and working as a sculptor mainly, and some hours as a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's quite tells it what the situation is at the moment. Yeah.
Okay. So can you describe the moment in your life that led you to becoming a sculptor and what prompted you to do so?
Well, at first I wanted to become a graphic designer.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to the art academy to become a graphic designer, but over there you have to work behind a computer all day. And that was not the thing I wanted to do. I have a lot of energy. So working behind a computer was not my thing. And then there was this teacher in the sculpturing department, and he showed me a new world actually. And from that day on, day, maybe month, I don't know what it was, but yeah, my interest was more into 3D and sculpting, and just decided to take that direction. And then after finishing the academy, I just went for it. Yeah.
That's great. So would you say that graphic designing impacted your sculpting background in some way?
Yeah, certainly. I think I just was looking for a 3D translation of, for example, the Chinese and Japanese calligraphy, the ink and the paper and the thick and the thin lines. I wanted to translate that into a 3D object. So that's where my journey started. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. So as an emerging sculptor, can you tell us about how you developed your career professionally in the industry?
Well, it's mainly trying to find the right stage for your work, and just go on and on and on and on. And it takes quite some years to get to be known by people. Because, well, when they see your work, it's okay, but they have to see it maybe twice or 3 times, and then they get interested. So it's in the years I just started to exhibit, and go on and on and on, and then all of a sudden you're known in the business or something like that. Yeah.
That's amazing. So it's still an ongoing journey for you, I think.
Yeah, and it will never stop. It will never stop. And I have so many sculptures yet to make. So they're in my head, and I want to do them all. And being a part of the art world makes it also possible to go on. Yeah, that's it.
That's amazing. So you get inspired by the community of sculptors around you as well.
Yeah, and the history of sculpting, and just by one sculpture creates questions for another one. So yeah, when one is done, I have so many questions for another one. It's a natural process or something like that. Yeah.
So can you tell us about your works and the concept they follow?
I have some sort of theory that everything is waves, or resonating. And the waves are a beautiful metaphor for life, or riding a wave. Sometimes it is really pleasant and it goes really well. And sometimes you fall off and you get washed by whatever is happening. Sometimes it's a big wave and you stay under for long. It's not pleasant. But sometimes you have the wave of your life, and that's a nice metaphor. So, and after a session of surfing, you feel great, just like totally okay with everything, and to find this feeling in sculpting. And sometimes it's the power of waves, and sometimes it's the joy of writing, and sometimes it's and writing, and that's also life. I mean, it's everything. So yeah, I think that's mainly the thing I'm trying to achieve, to communicate some feeling or something like that. I think that's it. Yeah,
that's definitely true. And I think every natural element comes with its own wave, which inspires your work furthermore.
Yeah,
Definitely.
And if you listen to it,
yeah,
and work with it, then you can create something. I'm not trying to master the material or everything. I'm not the boss. It's a cooperation together with material and everything. So just like the surfer has to react on the wave is doing its thing, and you have to react, and then you can make a good ride or it goes wrong. And that's also with sculpting for me.
that's true. So like you mentioned earlier, you have also created some abstract ink and paper works resembling those Chinese works, and a few paintings as well. So are they meant to be a journal for your sculptures, or are you pursuing the painting medium of art?
They are their own thing, but there are cross connections. I like to do collages, and there are sort of mini sculptures on paper, because you have the different layers. It's on itself, but it's also I need to do it to make my sculptures. I don't know. I started with the drawings because I didn't have all the material, the machines and things to become a sculptor right away. I needed to invest, and I need to earn all the machines and things. And when I started, paper and ink is cheap, so I could afford it in academy. So, and that's how it started. But I like the things that are happening on paper. I like paper, so that's also why I wanted to become a graphic designer. But
I understand. So there are different styles through which you can portray the motion of waves. So what made you choose the sculpting style that you currently use with your works?
No, at first it was also I wanted to. I was looking for a translation from this ink paper drawings to a 3D thing, and it's, I don't know, it just it comes while you're working. And when I want to make a easy sculpture, it doesn't work out. And when I want because I react on the material, and when I think I make just an easy one with two pieces, it doesn't fit, and then I'm editing, and then in the end it's a quite busy sculpture. And when I want to make a busy sculpture, then most of the times there's a light or easy sculpture appearing. So it's how do I say it? It's because I'm working together with the material. I don't know the outcome when I start. So I don't know if that answers your question, but it's just a process, and I'm working on maybe 5 or 7 different areas, and they are how do you call it? They're just there. Yeah.
Okay. So as per your experience, can you tell us how your work has evolved over time?
It has evolved because I have better machines to get the things done, but I don't know if the work is evolving. It's more that I get more knowledge in how to work with the material, and then it's easier for me to get to a certain point. But I've made sculptures in the beginning. They are just as good as what I'm doing now. So maybe I'm more confident now, but the work is, I think, still the same in a way. So you can't speak of a line up or something like that. I don't know if that's there, but yeah, I started. Maybe you can say the last couple of years I'm working with color, so that's another aspect to the sculpting. But yeah, I don't know if that's evolving, or is it just doing what you do? I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. So would you say you would like to experiment with your work sometimes, maybe create a different form or shape sometime in your future?
Yeah, but there's still the circle is probably the starting point most of the times. But I saw in the questions, because you mentioned some other sculptures who are different than most of the, yeah.
It's Diesel, Nitamen, and Imo.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, what I show on Instagram is just a part of what I'm doing. In my studio, there are a lot of different sculptures, because you're always searching for possibilities. And what I just said, I'm maybe on 5 or 7 or 3 different approaches I'm working on. But what I show on Instagram and what is in the gallery is the work people know of what I'm doing. But there are also other things, just like the drawings. They are there, but they have a connection, but they're not looking like the same. I'm not doing just this one trick and repeat it all the time. There are, yeah, maybe 4, 5, 7 lines of sculptures I'm working on. Yeah.
Okay, great. So it's quite expected, actually, when you first start sculpting, your first work is not always the same as what you make in the future later on. So can you tell us about your first sculpture and how it paved the way for your works in today?
Can you repeat the question again, because I don't think I
oh yeah, can you tell us about your first sculpture? Yeah, can you tell us about your first sculpture and how it paved the way for your other works?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's a difficult question, because every sculpture, what I already said, brings questions. So there was one sculpture where I was like, in the past, people had a normal phone in the house on one place, not a mobile phone, but a normal phone. And there was this little notebook, and they were calling and then just drawing. I think it's called doodling at the moment, that you just draw and do little things like that.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and my first sculpture was like such a drawing. I was just doodling in 3D or something like that, and then I saw something happening. But I worked with the plastic and the resin, so the forms were more smooth. And then I started with working in wax to make bronze sculptures. Then the form is also smooth because you can form the wax in all the ways you want. But then I started working metal, and that's a different approach. You have to approach it different. So the language became different a little bit. The starting point is the same, but the material dictates also how the outcome is. So yeah, maybe then a couple of questions back, how you can see the development in my wait, how do you call it? Work as an artist. It develops because I also use different materials, and then the material dictates a little bit how the sculpture will gonna be in the end. So the first sculptures were more smooth, but because of using other materials, also the language became a bit different. But the starting point was still the same.
Okay.
I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it did. So, like you mentioned, you were first working with doodling, and then you went to wax figures, and then you started with metal. So, are you trying to maybe hopefully start with some other material someday?
No, I would really like the metal. I'm now experimenting with the size, but and I don't know. I think you found me on Instagram, but I never place the dimensions with the sculpture. I do that on purpose because the imagination of the people who are looking to the pictures, that's more important than the actual size of the sculpture. So they can be humongous, they can be very big, but they can also be very small. So, and that's in the fantasy of the people who are looking at the pictures. But now in real life, yeah, I'm working with bigger sculptures now, and that creates other problems, or yeah, adventures, you could better say. So the future is maybe sometimes other materials, but I do have some. I like a certain roughness in the sculpture, so that also defines which material you're gonna use. Yeah. So I think I will stick to metal for a couple of years, and I don't know where it ends, but for now I think metal will be the main material. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's nice to know. So, what challenges do you face in the art industry as a sculptor today?
Yeah, simply making a living out of it. That's the biggest challenge, because and certainly nowadays with the energy price in Europe is sky high. The material is very expensive. Yeah, I have to make a living out of it. So that's the biggest challenge, you know. And yeah, I think that's the biggest challenge, but it's always been a big challenge, because yeah, not everybody is into art. You know, you need bread more than a sculpture in your house. So yeah, when people have some money left, then maybe they want to spend it in on art. You know, so yeah, that's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, right. That's actually a challenge for many artists today.
Yeah, yeah, that's the biggest challenge actually, but because yeah, that isn't, because you want to I want to make sculptures all day if I can, but yeah, I need some money for it, you know. So yeah, and how do you get it? Yeah, that's the biggest challenge. Yeah.
Right. So what would you say are your aspirations going forward as a sculptor?
Well, my aspirations, I would love to just be able to live and earn enough with my work to have a complete life as an artist. I'm now teaching as well, and I really like it. Teaching is important because I've in the past, with an inspirational teacher, you can I had a very inspirational teacher, and it brought me to this path. So teaching is important, but I really would rather be in the studio all day. So that's my aspiration, to be in the studio all day and make a lot of sculptures. Yeah.